Hey, folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your Wednesday episode. How the heck is everybody doing out there today? We've got another great show for you. I was talking about this guest yesterday, and I'm so excited for you guys to get to meet her. Her name is Becca Platsky, and she hosts this podcast called Corporate Gossip with her brother. And I think it is just fantastic. I was explaining to you guys yesterday why I think it's a pop culture talking about these kind of corporations and corporate scandals. It ties into pop culture. I mean, it's become pop culture in so many ways. And so we have this great conversation about people like Les Moonves, Bob Iger, who runs Disney. I mean, we kind of go deep. There's a little Elon Musk in there. And I just geeked out so hard. And I'm going to give you a couple more facts before we get into the interview about Paramount Pictures, which just sold to SkyDance. And we talked about this before it was actually official last week. So I want to give you a couple more details before we get into the interview. And I want to talk about a couple of other things. But are you guys good? I mean, you made it to Wednesday. That's great. Listen, I have to be up early because I'm going to ask one of the questions on Watch What Happens Live tonight with Joey King and Rashida Jones. So I guess tune in to Watch What Happens Live to see me make an idiot of myself asking one of those ladies a question. But that'll be exciting. That'll be fun. I'm excited to do that in the morning. I got to record these. I got to record the intros earlier because I'm doing this at like 11 o'clock at night and I'm cranky. I'm cranky because I just watched a night of television that included Love Island USA, Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup, but I just call it Just Gypsy because I'm like, it's Just Gypsy, which we got some big Gypsy Rose Blanchard news today, which we'll go over in a second. And then I watched Bethenny Frankel TikToks. Now I have blocked Bethenny Frankel from my TikTok, but I was on Rebecca's TikTok, and it's part of a larger conversation that I want to have with myself, and I guess therefore you guys as well. And we've talked about this in the past on this show about hate watching. Is that, hate watching is a valid form of watching, but at the same time, how hard should we lean into hate watching? Because at the end of the day, it involves hate. And as Bill Bailey, my dad, always says, no hate, no hate. But sometimes hating things can be so fun. I mean, that's one of the mottos of this show, an exploration of all the things that we love to hate. So it's like you love to hate something, but sometimes it's hate. I was on this Bethenny Frankel TikTok rabbit hole and I was hating it. And then I kept watching it. I kept watching her eat one bag of potato chips after another and just chewing with the mouth open and then shopping for the clothes and the purses. And it just, and I'm adding my thoughts into this of just, how I color it is that this is this sad woman that, obviously very successful and has these riches and stuff, but really, like I was saying yesterday, and I've said many times before, it just seems like there's this hole where, she wants to be so popular and she wants to be somebody that people love so much. But at the same time, that's why social media or reality shows was the perfect kind of forum for her because it was probably hard to see. This is me just completely making up a backstory that might not even be true, but it seems like somebody that wants that kind of controlled love, that is more comfortable talking to a camera than they are in actual real life. And I was thinking, why does that annoy me so much? Why does that annoy me so much? And some of you guys might be way ahead of me on this, but why it annoys me so much is that like that there's aspects of me in there. There's aspects of me in there is that in my real life, I find it very hard to reach out to people. I find it there's a handful of people. I mean, a very small, and I've made that circle even smaller through the years that I will actually open up to or lean on. And I'm telling you, that's still like pulling teeth to get me to lean on you. But that's it, is that this is where I can come and I feel like I'm close to you guys. And I feel like, oh, we're friends, right? Which is an insane thought. But I was like, maybe that's why I dislike Bethenny so much, because there's aspects of me in there. And I dislike sometimes how I'm built. I'm thinking way too that. See, it's annoying. It's at 11 o'clock at night. This is what I'm thinking about. But I'm at least I'm not eating chips on camera yet. At least I'm not doing like mukbangs and stuff like that. That's when you know that's going to be the real cry for help. Is when you say when you see me like, hey guys, I got a box of Cheez-Its. This is Cool Ranch Cheez-Its. You guys want to see me eat them? Oh, it's light and airy. Oh, it tastes like a wheat thin. Yeah. Like that. It's insane. But here's me digesting and consuming all of it. And then the logical person would say, well, why don't you spend that time reading a book? You say you like to read. Why don't you read a book? There's plenty of things that you do love to watch. Why don't you watch one of those things? And I'm like, bah, humbug. I will hate watch. I will hate watch. It is so disturbing. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. But my God, the hate watching is so strong sometimes. And I think you have that. And then you have Love Island USA, which airs like, 30 nights a week. And they did it again tonight. They had like an hour and 24-minute episode. I'm like, you guys, you're pushing it, man. Like an hour. We should be able to edit these into an hour, but an hour and 24 minutes. And they did this amazing thing. They do this on Love Island. They have this thing called movie night where they take clips that the other cast members haven't seen of each other, and they call it movie night. And you get to sit in front of a projector and they eat popcorn and candy. And it's like, oh, fun. We're at the movies. But these aren't clips that you want to see. So there's like the game between the guys and the girls, and whoever gets the question right gets to pick what they're going to watch. And of course, I mean, these guys in Casa Amor went buck wild. This Aaron, you've probably heard so much about him, even if you don't watch Love Island USA. He's been paired up with Kaylor and they're all lovey dovey, but I think he went in Casa Amor. And within like the first hour, he was like he was he wasn't having sex with somebody, but he was like really just seemed like no cares in the world, was making out, saying wild things, just, having the time of his life. But then he gets back from Casa Amor and realizes there's real life consequences. But at the same time, Kaylor like took him back and then found out more information that he asked this girl to shower with him. And then there was another fight, but then he kind of sweet talked his way back in. And then she was like, okay, and he's like, I love you. I love you. You don't understand. I've loved you for like a week. They've only been in there like 3.5 weeks. That's why the whole premise of the show is ridiculous. I mean, come on. I know there's a lot of Love Island USA fans out there listening, but come on. Let's detach for 1 second. Like we're not going to tell anybody else that we're saying this. It's kind of ridiculous, you guys. It's ridiculous. Listen, I mean, it's even more ridiculous for me. I'm an old man. I'm watching these 20-year-olds just having the time of their life. I would never even take my shirt off near a pool. Are you kidding me? They're all having the time of their lives, but at the same time, it's the most dramatic thing it's like take the worst dramatic scenes from Beverly Hills 90210 and amplify it times like 1,000. That's the kind of intensity you're dealing with Love Island USA. And then there's this overwhelming soundtrack, which I've talked about before. It's 10 times worse, and I mean that in a good way, than Selling Sunset, where they'll take just like old, they'll take just like old hits and they'll slow them down and they'll make every one of them sad. Like it was like they had a Depeche Mode one the other night. And it was like, reach out and touch faith, your own personal Jesus. And they'll have like these long shots of like the cast like crying because all they do is talk to each other. They don't have TV, phone, anything like that. So it's just insane. They've been in there way too long. And I think we've been in there way too long. I think we're getting I'll read people's like commentary about it on Twitter or something. And I'm like, dude, we need to come up for air. This is potentially getting unhealthy for all of us, not just the people on the island. But I will say, having said all of that, the movie night, the guys buried themselves because they did so many idiotic things. And finally, Kaylor, the girl with Aaron, got to see Aaron like fully like macking on this girl over at Casa Amor during movie night. Finally, seeing visualization of how free he was being. And this is what I don't get about the concept of the show either. Like, this is not a new show. So Casa Amor, the repercussions. So like, why would you even do that in the first place if you really did like somebody, really did want to close off and be with them potentially in the outside world, which then leads you to think that these people are just like strategically playing and just want the money at the end of the game. But they're all just, oh, I love you. I've never felt this way before. It's all of this insanity. So Kaylor finally sees this, and by the way, they're continuing it on Thursday night, which is part 2 of movie night, and I think we see another time where Aaron kisses. Like, this poor Kaylor is just gonna like jump into the ocean at some point. I mean, I've seen her cry. Like, there's just it's like Titanic-sized tears from Kaylor. But even tonight, Kaylor was like, "I don't have any more tears to cry for you." And I'm sitting there with my big bowl of big boy ice cream, just going, yeah, yeah, all right. You kids are crazy. And then, but by the way, the guys deserve it. And you want to shake them because you're like, okay, of course. Like, we're idiots. We think with the wrong head all the time. It's so dumb. And I don't want to strip away that, like, I do believe, and I know we do have feelings. Men do have feelings. I know that sounds crazy. I'm not sticking up for men at all, but I do think sometimes men have genuine feelings. I know that for a fact. But we just make the just the biggest idiots. So I don't feel bad for the Love Island guys, and they deserve everything that they have coming to them. But then there's the one Love Island dude. He's he's Rob. He's the guy with the snake tattoo on his arm, and he played like he's a snake catcher, and he likes to play with spiders and stuff. He's like a bad boy. He's who I call like son of Jax Taylor, right? Rob. And Rob gets played at movie night. He was with this girl, Leah. And Leah, they played this clip of her making fun of him crying a couple weeks ago when like everything was going down. I talked about it on the show. Like, Rob threw like a fit, started crying. Then he jumped in the pool and kind of went under this like overpass in the pool to hide from the cameras. I was like, this is insane. This is insane. But he's really good reality television. So if you've listened to the Love Island interviews I've done, I will always ask the contestants, I'm like, what is Rob's deal, man? It's like, it's either he's the smartest guy there or he's the dumbest guy there, but I can't get a read on him. And they'll always like stand up for this guy. No, Rob's amazing. He's amazing. But so he sees this clip of Leah like going like, oh, fuck that pussy. He's crying. Oh, you're giving me the ick crying, which, yeah, I mean, hurtful. But at the same time, she was hurt because he kind of rejected her. Like, like hurt people, blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, I do want to say everybody in that place is crazy. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know we all have our favorites, but come on. This isn't the personality Olympics. Kenny with Janae, like, I think Kenny has a hard time forming sentences. No offense to Kenny. He seems like a really sweet guy. He's with Janae right now, you guys. But none of this, like, none of these people are, it's hard. Like, I'm just watching all trash right now. Between this and the Gypsy Rose reality show, like, guys, we've got to go out and touch grass. I mean, there are truly good people out there. These are realities. These are people that wanted to be on a reality show. Like, already you've lost because you went on a reality show to allegedly find love. Like, we already have to accept that that's where we're starting at. So we have to so if we can accept that, and I'm talking to myself here, if I can accept that, then I'm able to enjoy it. When I start getting lost in like, these are amazing people, oh my God, how dare, it's like they're all kind of suspect across the board. And then you can kind of enjoy it a little bit more. But Rob sees this clip and it's just like, okay, I mean, it's not nearly as bad as watching Aaron make out with Daniela in Casa Amor and you see Kaylor lose her mind again. It's not nearly as bad. But this Rob is like, oh, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I was trying to be sensitive and open up and you didn't even once ask, like, why are you crying, man? How are you? It's fine, dude. I just don't trust you, Leah. I just don't trust you, man. And Aaron, his best friend Aaron, who like pretty much, cheated in Casa. I don't know. They were still open, so it's not officially cheating, but cheated in Casa. And he's like, how dare you how dare you hurt Rob's feelings? How dare you? He's amazing, man. He's getting more upset over this stupid thing that Leah said about Rob than he is about his own behavior at Casa. And so they did this kind of brilliant thing where they flipped the script and started trying to make the girls feel bad when it was like the girls were just talking some trash. The girls were talking some trash in a heated moment. Like, she obviously liked Rob. Rob wasn't reciprocating. There were so many other things that got into it. But it was so ridiculous. And they were playing, and the producers, man, you got like they were playing like the really intense like strings behind it, like so we're supposed to get like emotional and like really feel like we should feel so deeply for these men. And I'm like, what are you for? This is nothing. Go back to Kaylor and Aaron. That's the juice. That's the good stuff. Like that's the stuff where you're like, what were you thinking, man? Like, that's wild. And I just thought it was so funny. That's how we ended it. But then I thought, and to my point earlier about hate watching, is that I think that's the goal sometimes of these shows. I was saying that about Vanderpump Rules, right? At the end of the season, we were talking about this, where they just want us to be upset. Like, we're talking about it. They want us to be upset at Lala. They want us to be livid. They want us to get enraged. And I think the same thing about Love Island USA. They want us to be this upset. This upset gets us a tweet. It gets us to make memes. It gets us to talk about it on silly podcasts. Like it gets it, like we talk about this stuff. We give it a lot of credence. We give it validation. We make it respected in some ways. And you're like, no, this is definitely not respectable. But we kind of do. And so, anyways, that's a quick Love Island recap. I'll be talking about it more later in the week. But yeah, I'm so sorry to you guys that do not watch Love Island USA, because it just must be like hearing me speak a foreign language. So yeah, that's Love Island USA. Now let's get to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So, I mean, I don't know. Like we usually have like celebrity deaths. Well, like they always say those come in threes. Well, what about celebrity pregnancies? And I am saying that Gypsy Rose is now considered a celebrity. That's what kind of backwards world we live in. Well, Lindsay Hubbard, Margot Robbie, who played Barbie, and now Gypsy Rose Blanchard, they are all expecting. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, by the way, I wonder if Gypsy Rose is upset that Lindsay Hubbard got the clear blue SpawnCon. Like, that was supposed to be mine, Lindsay. How dare you? Now, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, just to remind you, she served prison time for being affiliated with the death of her mother, Dee Dee. And you probably, know this story in and out like I do. They had the HBO documentary Mommy Dead and Dearest. They had the Lifetime series in January, and now they had the reality show called Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, which I always just say, I've told Sophie, it should be called Just Gypsy, because she's just Gypsy. And it's the most bizarre viewing experience ever, because it's a reality, like it's a reality show, folks. And you're like, okay, well, this is somebody that served their time for being affiliated in an accessory in the murder of her mother. And, it was the mother. I mean, just your heart does go. I mean, the trauma that this mother put Gypsy Rose through. The mom was kind of a con artist, a grifter. She just wanted to get free things. She said her daughter had all these kind of illnesses, had her daughter couldn't walk, had her in a chair, even though she could use her legs, made her get a feeding tube, even though she did not need it, got her teeth taken out, like just horrific. And you cannot imagine what it does to the mind. That's, I think, part of when I watch the reality show, I'm just thinking, what is Gypsy Rose? I mean, she served a many years in prison, and she just got released. And this reality show, and I said this at the time, I said, this is so weird. We are fully making a celebrity out of this person. And at the end of the day, she was an accessory to her mom's murder. And, the mom definitely, deserved punishment. Not death. I mean, I'm just not that kind of person, but like, my God, the mother deserved to be in prison. But we made her, or we were so fascinated by the story that we gave her a lot of Instagram followers. She got the Lifetime deal. She got a book deal. She got all this stuff. But her personal life seems just as dramatic as a season of Vanderpump Rules. And that's what's so messed up. So when I started watching the Lifetime reality show, like a month and a half ago, it's been on, I think. I've watched every episode. We're addicted to it. And I thought, it's just going to be about her acclimating. But then you realize there's so much drama. She got married to this guy, Ron, and he's this big dude, like really, they met in like prison pals, pen pals. And he's a teacher, and they got married in prison. But then she had another boyfriend before him. His name is Ken. And Ken broke it off with her and broke Gypsy Rose's heart, broke her heart. But then she met Ken. And at first it was just friends, but then it heated up. And then they got married in prison. And she wanted to get married too. She had a little doubts, but then she wanted to get married too. So they get married in prison. She comes out. We see, Ken picking her up. We see them go to the hotel. And then, it picks up in things that you saw on the social media where people were making fun of Ryan. And she said, the D is fire, like, oh my God, his dick's amazing. That kind of just craziness. And I'm like, why are you commenting about your, like, she still has, I think the trauma in our lives, sometimes it gives us arrested development. It freezes us in those moments. So sometimes when you hear her lash out on her social media, or she'll do like these lives where she'll, fight back with other influencers and go, girl, you're the one that's panini pressed, not me, because I got a man. Do you got a man? I don't think so. It's wild. And you're like, girl, you just need to chill, man. You need to acclimate. Anyways, this Ryan picks her up. They're married. They go back to his place. They're setting up a home. She wants to adopt a dog. He adopts a dog. And then the family, her dad and her stepmom. So this guy, Ken, that she used to be with in prison, he starts wanting to come back in the picture. He reaches out to the stepmom, and then the stepmom tells Gypsy that, oh, Ken call me, kind of regrets what he did. And, just, who's thinking about you. And I'm like, what the fudge? What? And Ryan, the husband, is like, what you do? Like, he's getting paranoid. He's like, well, who are you calling? Are you calling Ken? Oh, he had his chance, man. He's done. And so this guy is paranoid, and he's being fucking annoying to her. And you can tell she's getting annoyed. But like at the same time, this dude literally was like, I promise the rest of my life to you, Gypsy Rose. I mean, it's fucked up, you guys. It is so bizarre, so weird. It has totally cast a magic spell over me. I love watching these episodes, but at the same time, then today, she announces Gypsy Rose Blanchard is pregnant, expecting first baby with boyfriend Ken Urker, because Ken did fully get back in the picture, got her away from Ryan, and now she's getting divorced from Ryan, and she's back with Ken, the prison boyfriend, and they are now pregnant. She is 32 years old. He is 31 years old. She posted a 9-minute YouTube video entitled I'm Pregnant, My Journey So Far, which, by the way, that reminded me of Kylie Jenner's pregnancy video. You remember when she dropped it, like right at the end of the pregnancy, like kept it secret for like the 9 months? I mean, that was insane. So this is not nearly as good as the Kylie Jenner video, but it was good. It's like, I know the rumors have been flying around for quite some time now, and I'm happy to announce that I am 11 weeks pregnant. Ken and I are expecting our very first child come January of 2025. This was not planned at all. It was all completely unexpected, but we're both very excited to take on this new journey of parenthood. I know that there are going to be people who feel like I'm not ready to be a mother, and I don't know if anyone's really ready to be a mother. All the things that I wanted in a mother, I want to give this baby. And she started tearing up because her mom was such a fucking disaster. I am a mother now. I am happy, and I just want to be a good mother for my child. I want to be everything my mother wasn't. And so she already has a baby registry, which she has now made private because I think People Magazine or some magazine like busted it out. But I was going through it and it was like $800 credit, like all of this insanity. And some TikToker said that she was trying to get PR deals, but I don't know. You can't believe all that shit. But they put this stuff out there. But the other thing that I hinted at last week, you guys, because I really went down a Gypsy Rose Blanchard rabbit hole, was that the room, like this has been out there for a couple weeks now that Gypsy Rose is pregnant. So this is first, it really is very, sorry, Lindsay. It's very Lindsay Hubbard, but sorry. But so this has been out for a couple weeks because there was a TikTok, you guys, a TikTok that said that Ken is bisexual and his boyfriend said Ken has a boyfriend, and Ken was freaking out because Gypsy Rose was pregnant. Now, this is complete speculation. There is no proof to this. But now, 3 weeks later, after those rumors started on TikTok, the announcement comes that she's pregnant. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And also, I mean, like, how dramatic, like, okay, if you were in prison for any length of time, and especially for this grisly murder and the life that you have led, where you've been kept under a woman's thumb, that your mother professed to love you, you were, it was Munchausen by proxy, you were made to act sick, I mean, just the horror show. Would you, I mean, the answer is you probably would have a dramatic life, but I would think you would fight that urge, or you would be knee deep in therapy if you could afford it, where you would fight against all of those triggers, all of the just like, no, I want a simple life. I do not like, yeah, I mean, she's uh, 4 months out of prison, and she's already getting a divorce from her husband. And now she's with her first prison boyfriend, and now she's pregnant. I mean, it is insane. And at the same time, I swear to God, I hope with everything in me that there's a season 2 of this reality show. I need you guys to watch it. I mean, we need to get Gypsy a job at like Tom Tom or Schwartz and Sandy's. Like, but at the same time, there's just none of this is good for her. None of this is good for her, because then sometimes you'll watch the show, and I have to tell you, I do have a soft spot for Ryan, even though Ryan, her husband, her ex-husband, seems like he has a lot of issues himself, and there's a lot of by the way, her whole family, her cousin, they're all going on lives. They're all talking about it. They're all like interacting with other people. Like, it's like, dude, this isn't everybody's chance to get a little clout from this insane situation, because every time you start enjoying it, you have to remember, oh my God, the reason she's here is because she participated in the murder of her mom, you know? And you have so much empathy and sympathy for her, because I'm telling you, like, she really was put through hell. But then I was thinking too about, like, how sometimes even if we try our hardest, we sometimes emulate our parents. We sometimes have these, and when they talk to her about her mom on the show, she'll always, she'll say, "Oh yeah, well, that's when we went to this hospital, and mom made me lie right here because said that I was going through chemo so I could get these false teeth." Like, she knew exactly the scam her mom was running. She remembers all the details. And I just wonder sometimes, if you are then put in a position of celebrity where people are once again giving you things, you're getting like the bump removed from your nose, and you're getting these new big fake turkey teeth. You're getting all of this stuff. Does it then like almost kind of trigger you in that sense of how your mom used to try to make people feel bad for your illnesses to get free trips to like Disney World and things like that? And I just thought the world is so fucked up. And that's why it's like, oh man, as much as I love this show and I want a second season, it maybe really shouldn't have a second season. Like, maybe this shouldn't be a reality show. What do you guys think about this? I'm willing to be completely wrong, but it is, because at the same time, it's like, at times you'll just laugh. You'll laugh at how ridiculous this show can be. And then at the same time, it'll have these sentimental moments. And I think she realizes her story does pull on the heartstrings. And it's so confusing, folks, but I can't stop thinking about it. Fully Addicted, Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup. It's on Lifetime. You can stream. I think there's like 7, 8 episodes out. I don't know how long the season is. They're getting right now to the point where I think she's going to meet Kin for the first time, the guy that steals her back from Ryan. And Ryan is starting to get the vibe that things are going south. So it's going to be a good episode. It airs on Monday night. So that's Gypsy Rose. Whew. Shiver. Okay, this next story kind of dovetails nicely in with our guest Becca Platsky today from the podcast Corporate Gossip, and we talk about Les Moonves. And Les Moonves, for a time, was, the head of CBS. He was a big power player, and he got himself into a lot of trouble that we talk to and that they cover on their podcast. But what's so interesting is CBS is, of course, part of a larger conglomerate. They are a part of Paramount Global, and Paramount, of course, you recognize that name from Paramount Pictures. So we talk about this deal that was like kind of in the works, because Paramount and its other companies were all owned by a man named Sumner Redstone, who has since passed away. But Sumner Redstone was this billionaire man. He's one of the characters that Brian Cox's Succession character, Logan Roy, is based on. So when they originally did the Succession pilot, and the writer of Succession and the director of Succession, one of the people that he based Logan Roy on was Sumner Redstone. And Sumner, there was like a battle when he was dying of who was going to control these assets. And his daughter Sherry Redstone really wanted to be the head honcho to take it all over. And we found out this, last week that has failed. They are merging with SkyDance Media, and they have agreed to merge less than a month after the sides abruptly ended deal talks. So they were already in the works with this deal. It got called off. They went back to the table, and then they made this deal. Now, Paramount is the owner of Paramount Pictures, Movie and Television Studios, the CBS Television Network, CBS News. So CBS News announced this in a release late Sunday. It's combining with SkyDance, which is an entertainment business founded by billionaire David Ellison, son of Oracle founder Larry Ellison. I'm sorry, David is Larry's son. Larry is the billionaire. Larry loaned a lot of money to David, his son, like $8 billion to do this. Paramount also owns Paramount Plus streaming service, Nickelodeon, BET, MTV, Comedy Central, and other media brands. The transaction resolves months of speculation around the future of Paramount, which also reportedly attracted a $26 billion bid from a consortium, including Sony Pictures and private equity firm Apollo Global Management. A range of prominent media and entertainment industry executives were also said to have expressed interest in a possible deal for Paramount. Under the two-step deal, Skydance will first pay $2.4 billion for National Amusements. That's the company that Sumner Redstone founded. Which controlled 77% of the voting shares of Paramount. So the stocks. Shareholders with non-voting stock will receive $15 per share or one share of non-voting stock in the new company. Class A shareholders. Now, by the way, I don't own stock, so I understand the stock market a little bit. You guys might own some stock or not, but it is kind of a fascinating world in just the different classifications of these stocks. Class A shareholders, other than National Amusements, will receive $23 per share or the right to get a 1.5333 non-voting shares in the merged company. Paramount Global would then merge with Skydance in an all-stock transaction that values the latter at $4.75 billion. The deal also gives other potential bidders for Paramount 45 days to submit a competing offer in an apparent effort to appease shareholders who felt Skydance's initial bid undervalued their stake in the media company. The transaction is subject to regulatory approval. So it still has to go through regulatory approval. Even the government could possibly shut this down. But the deal unites Paramount, which, they had classics like Titanic, Godfather, Raiders of the Lost Ark, as well as franchises like Star Trek, Mission Impossible. And they're going to merge that with newcomer David Ellison, Skydance, which launched in 2010. But that company has produced or co-produced hit films like Top Gun Maverick and the Reacher streaming series, not the Tom Cruise movies, the streaming series. Top Gun and Mission Impossible came out of Paramount. So I really think Tom Cruise is going to have another banner under this. This is a defining and transformative time for our industry and the storytellers, content creators, and financial stakeholders who are invested in the Paramount legacy and the longevity of an entertainment economy, Ellison said in a statement. I am incredibly grateful to Sherry Redstone, that is Sumner's daughter, who I was just talking about, and her family, who have agreed to entrust us with the opportunity to lead Paramount. We are committed to energizing the business and bolstering Paramount with contemporary technology, new leadership, and a creative discipline that aims to enrich generations to come. And this article from CBSNews.com goes really into, Sherry's fight to get the company, which ultimately failed. But also this dovetails, I keep saying dovetails, into what I was talking about with Paramount deleting all of this content a couple of weeks ago, which is very frustrating because I think that would add value to the company. And I'm still very confused about all of that. So this was just a little taste to get you in to our guest today. This podcast, I think, is just excellent. I think it, like I said, it really is, it really fits right under the pop culture umbrella that we talk about. And I get fascinated with all of the shows that I talk about are usually made by some sort of banner under some sort of conglomerate. And the people that are in charge of these conglomerates sometimes just aren't great people. They're sometimes really mixed up individuals. And I just thought this was a fascinating conversation. I look forward to talking to Becca again and getting more business updates with her in the entertainment front. But go check out the podcast. Go follow them on Instagram because I think their Instagram is great as well. But without further ado, the one, the only, Becca Platsky from the podcast Corporate Gossip.